Radio Fly.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Absolutely Terrible. I'm Corin.
And I'm Pratik.
As a reminder, this is a podcast where we talk about absolutely terrible movies. This week, I watched the masterpiece that is Hostage House.
What? Okay. We have your house. Okay, keep it.
Yeah.
It's not going
Don't
anywhere.
make us shoot it.
We'll be back from Florida next month, so, just enjoy the pool. Have fun.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's not that interesting. I wish. It was released in 2021.
Okay.
It was directed by David Fincher. It has a 3.9 on IMDb.
So do you know the budget of the movie?
No.
Okay.
Hard to find the budget of the movie, but I'm going to guess not very high.
16 pesos.
Yeah. It has a
Hey, ¿qué pasa? 16 pesos. Cabrón.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was just shot in some cheap location in the middle of nowhere. It has a 3.9 on IMDb. And it only has one review on Rotten Tomatoes.
Every time you see a movie with like a rating that starts with a 3, you must start licking your lips.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
yes,
yeah.
This is great material.
It's like perfect. And I love coming across movies where there's only one review on Rotten Tomatoes because it shows that even the critics decided to skip it.
Yeah, the editors are like, oh, you have to go see this movie and write a review, and the film correspondent was like, I have laundry to do that day, so no.
Yeah. It's gonna take me the whole day. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Got chores. Yeah.
It's about a realtor and her daughter who are held hostage at an open house.
Okay. Sounds very much like David Fincher classic.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I was thinking it feels like if Panic Room was made by David Fincher after he had a lobotomy.
Did you know the guy who came up with lobotomy won the Nobel Prize in medicine?
It's insane.
Yeah, he was like,
Why?
oh, you know what we should do? We should take this ice pick and insert it into our patient's nose, and maybe mess with the brain. Maybe take some of the stuff out because there's too much.
Yeah.
In there, we don't need that, global warming. And the Nobel Committee were like, thank you for your contributions to modern medicine. Here's your Nobel Prize. So
Did
True
the
story.
Nobel did that committee actually have a lobotomy before voting?
they're very
or-
committed members.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it.
Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?
I killed 2 people!
I am an FBI agent!
My husband. He's having an affair with your wife.
Oh my God! You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
The movie begins with a woman running away from someone
Okay.
while overly intense music plays in the background. Yeah.
Okay.
And she comes upon a fence, but she can't get through the fence.
Okay.
And she yells help. And then we cut to a title card.
Okay.
So, this is yet another example of a movie that had no idea how to begin. So
This sounds like spare footage. The editor was like, I haven't got nowhere to place this. And the producer was like, just open the movie with this footage.
So they just said, okay, throw this in.
Yeah.
So now we're introduced to our two main characters. Susan, who is a realtor, and then her daughter, Heather.
Okay.
So Susan asks Heather about if she started packing for college.
Heather, I hardly know her. Okay.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Have
Had
we
to be
sunk
done.
that low?
Had to be done.
So Heather replies, "Oh, are you trying to get rid of me?" And then Susan brings out her best impression of Mark Wahlberg in The Happening and says, "What? No."
Right. Deliberate bad acting.
So
where's the father?
we'll get to that.
Okay.
And so while this scene is going on and they're talking, we get the opening credits over top, and then it's in the tiniest font imaginable.
Right?
It's almost as if no one wanted their names to be seen.
They were so embarrassed. They were like, "Can you put us in Times New Roman 1 point?"
Yeah, please. I mean, someone I know could see this. I don't want them to know.
Okay.
So, Susan is trying to sell this big house on a 70-acre chunk of land.
Okay.
And they make sure to constantly tell us how big the land is because they don't want to waste time actually exploring it.
So this is the house they live in?
No, this is the house that she's trying to sell.
Okay. So it's on a plot of 70 acres.
Yeah.
Right.
She arrives at the house outside the gate because, of course, it's gated.
Right.
And then some guy that's in a car that says security on it
Okay.
drives by and starts talking to her.
Okay.
So it's this random, insignificant conversation that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Uh-huh.
So, it's pretty obvious that this guy is going to be involved later somehow.
Yeah.
Also, here, I want to say that...
Fun fact, it was a new Ford in security.
Yeah,
and the iron was had peeled off.
Yeah, it just peeled off.
Yeah.
And it was really fortunate for him that he works in security. And also, for this movie, something that really bothers me is I'm confused about the layout of the land.
Okay.
Because...
They didn't do a Middle-earth type map?
Yeah. Like, it seems pretty straightforward, but there's all these inconsistencies. Like,
Right.
when she's at the gate, you can see the land in the background, and you can't see the house.
Okay.
But later on in the movie, when a character
So
has
could you
a
describe
POV
the land?
shot,
Is that like a farm field or just grass or?
it's just like light grass
Okay.
and a long driveway and just some trees.
A long driveway to nowhere, basically, at this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
But it's funny because from the front, you can't see the house. But then when you get a POV shot from a character inside the house, like it appears like the road is just like 20 meters away.
Right.
And it really bothers me.
Those are called special windows.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Because it's confusing. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, so they
So-
did like an exterior somewhere and the
Yeah.
interior didn't match. Okay.
Yeah. So back in the house, in this big house,
Uh-huh.
Susan is getting things set up for the open house,
Right.
but she gets disrupted when she hears a noise.
Okay.
And it's coming from outside a window, and she goes to check and opens up the curtain and notices it's her boss, Paul, on the other side of the window. I don't know why he was at the window, especially a window that's covered by curtains. I don't know if he just liked the curtains and wanted to check them out, but... So she lets him in and they chat for a bit. And then he leaves because, of course, he's going to come back
leaves
into this later. Yeah.
before
He talks to her for-
before prospective buyers come over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
He talks to her for 2 minutes. Says, "Oh, good job getting this house. It's a really nice house," and blah, blah, blah.
Gee,
then he
Susan,
leaves.
good job.
Yeah. So we get a montage of potential buyers. And she's just showing them around the house. Then towards the end of the day, she sees a police car driving by.
Okay.
And then here's a helicopter overhead.
Okay.
So that's telling us, okay, something's up here.
Yeah.
And then after she finishes with her last clients for the day, she hears another noise. And the
And it's
suspense
oh,
continues.
sorry, I left my hat.
Yeah. Well, this time it's actually her daughter who shows up.
Mom, Bill sent me to collect his hat.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Well, Heather just shows up and she says, "Oh, a friend dropped me off and I really wanted to see this nice house."
Okay.
So it's like, okay. And then the two of them talk for a bit and are interrupted by a car that shows up out front.
Right.
But that shouldn't be because the open house finished at 5. A couple walks up to the door and their names are Natalie and Keith.
Okay.
And they apologize for being late.
They are this young, cool, hip couple.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they are.
I'm just casting people in my head as well.
Yeah. Susan decides, even though it's after hours, I'll let you in anyways.
Yeah. Because they drove a flashy car?
Yeah.
Right.
Well.
Okay.
So they enter and Keith is sweating profusely.
Okay.
And Susan asks,
He's like,
why are you
I'm a
sweating?
vampire. You didn't invite
Yeah.
me in. I must go back. And you have to invite me in.
Okay, that's a better movie than what we're in for. So he's standing there sweating profusely.
Right.
And he says, it's because there's no air conditioning in the car.
But she is not.
Yeah, I know. But the woman he's with
my
is
side was
perfectly
broken.
fine. I just sweat very easily.
Right.
So we see that, Susan doesn't see anything, but we can see that he's wounded on the side of his stomach and is bleeding considerably.
Right.
And
This
he's
is
walking.
my red sweat. I had a lot of spicy Mexican food this morning. This is red sweat.
Yeah, it's just still with me.
Right, okay.
So he's walking around slowly and grunting, and
Okay.
Susan doesn't notice anything.
Right.
And
Don't they
she's
show
giving
a floor shot where a few drops have dripped?
Actually, that's what I was just about to say.
Oh,
We
okay.
see blood drop onto the floor.
Right. All the cliches. Right.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, they walk around the house, and she doesn't notice anything. And then Heather, who's sort of just hanging out in the background,
Uh-huh.
notices drops of blood on the floor.
Right.
So she follows them up the stairs.
Follows the trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
ding.
just the I guess they're going this way. So she goes upstairs to warn her mother. But
Mom,
she's
he's bleeding.
Yeah.
What? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a paper cut.
Yeah,
Just but a
really
flesh
bad-
wound.
Yeah, just but a flesh wound. I'm still okay. So, right as Heather's getting ready to go into the room and warn her mother, Susan finally notices Keith's gunshot wound.
Okay. And she's
So
like,
she says,
"That's a $3,000 rug. Get off it, asshole."
Yeah. Blood's so hard to
Yeah, I mean,
clean up.
it's like getting a cleaner up here is going to cost a lot now. So
Yeah.
she should be worried.
Yeah. So she notices the gunshot wound and says, are you okay? Well, no. And then Natalie, the woman who's with him, pulls out a gun and points it at Susan. And when Heather sees this, she gasps really loudly, basically announcing to everyone that she's there.
Right.
So she runs away and hides and goes to reach for her phone, but remembers that she left it charging. So
In the car?
no, just somewhere in the house.
Oh, okay.
I can't really figure out where because the geography of this house is so
Right.
confusing. So Natalie goes looking for her, and Heather tries to find her phone instead of, I don't know, maybe going outside and
Okay,
looking
and so
for the
so
police
let
cars.
me recall the names real quick. So Susan is the mother, Heather is the daughter,
Yes.
Natalie is the attractive prospective buyer, and the
Yes.
guy is named
Keith.
Keith. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, instead of deciding to I don't know, go outside where there's obviously a helicopter flying overhead and cop cars everywhere.
Right.
She decides to go look for the phone.
Okay.
So she goes to look for the phone, but Natalie gets to it first. So then she finally
She's like,
decides...
you're using an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
Shame
Yeah.
on you. Get with the
Yeah.
times, bitch.
Well,
something.
we'll get a different type of rant from Natalie later on.
Okay.
So Heather decides, okay, now's the time to go outside.
Right.
And so, and I haven't mentioned yet, but this house has active security cameras,
Right.
despite the fact that no one lives there.
Right.
I don't know who's paying for them to function right now, but whatever. So Natalie looks at the security cameras and sees Heather running. So she and Keith go out after her, and they shove Susan into a closet.
Okay.
And so this leads to the scene from the beginning.
Okay.
So it's Heather
They
running.
haven't revealed their motives yet?
No, we'll get to that soon.
Okay.
And then so Heather runs away. At one point, it looks like Natalie's right behind her.
And teleports. Right.
Yeah, she teleports, and then at one point, she must, I don't know, maybe get a stitch in her side, so she stops or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So Heather runs up to the fence. She screams out for help at the police cars driving by, but nothing.
Chomping on their donuts.
Yeah, eating their donuts. So,
Right.
so
That's some comedy
so
there.
That would require this movie to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So Natalie catches Heather, and then even though she stands right in the open, the cops still don't see her.
Right.
And so I guess they take Heather back to the house.
She didn't start screaming as soon as she got out of the house? Like,
Nope, she just runs.
ran.
She waits till she gets to the
Right.
fence before she shouts help.
it's
and
just a
then-
scene from Forrest Gump, just running.
Yeah. Run, Heather, run. So, also something small here, but I did notice that all the license plates on the cars in this movie have no states or anything on them.
Right.
They just have the number. So, okay. So back inside, they have Heather and Susan, and they tie them to chairs
Okay.
because thankfully there are twist ties around.
Right.
So Susan notices that Keith's gunshot wound is still bleeding,
Right.
and she offers to tend to it for him. So
Okay.
they
Oh,
they let her
I'm
loose.
a realtor, but I can also play a nurse in this moment.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I in my spare time I'm a medic.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in the war. I was in the war, you know.
Back in Nam.
I was in Nam, you know. I treated a lot of wounded kin.
Yeah. Luckily, all you need to know is how to sew if you're going to tend to a wound.
Right.
Because, you know, sewing up clothing is the same as stitching up a wound.
Yeah. And so there was alcohol, there was a needle, there was thread.
No, I don't even remember her using any alcohol. She just uses a needle and
She was
thread.
like, I'm going to kill him with infection within 7 to 8 days.
Yeah, that'll get him.
Go bacteria.
And yeah, I'm trying to remember where the needle and thread come from.
Right.
It's an open house,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't think, but whatever. So
All the cliches,
meanwhile-
there's a gunshot
Yeah.
wound and then someone is sewing that up. It's like,
yeah. Oh, and to add to the cliches, of course,
you know what would be fun? A scene in
What?
which like someone opens the sutures, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, like-
well,
That would be an interesting scene.
yes, it would, but no, we're not getting that. But we do get the cliche of, oh, the bullet went straight through,
Right.
so that means it's okay.
Yeah.
And so she says,
Oh,
oh,
and
this
also
is
you're
gonna
losing a
hurt.
kidney. Just want
Yeah,
to mention that real quick.
Yeah, because you think, did that not go through anything?
Yeah.
But
Like,
uh,
there are organs
anyway.
there. It's not a fucking
Yeah.
shoulder wound.
It managed to miss everything.
Yeah, what are the odds of someone getting hit in the torso and then be like, oh, yeah, lucky break.
Yeah. Just absolutely perfect.
Just hit him in the knee or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make
I know.
it make sense.
Yeah.
Have the guy sort of limp,
Yeah.
Add
Yeah.
some character to the character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
Okay.
So, meanwhile, while she's stitching up Keith, Natalie is in the background ranting about class disparity and blah, blah, blah.
Also, by the way,
saying-
if someone is like, I don't know why movies do this. Like, someone
Yeah.
is shot with a bullet and it's just so casual.
Yeah, I know.
Who cares? It's just a bullet. Yeah. So, what are you having for lunch? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're dying, stupid bastard.
Well, after he gets stitched up, it's like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay, good to go.
such a like, if you are hit, I think I've ranted about this before on this show.
Yeah.
If you are hit with a bullet, like, that would be fucking, you'd be like, I'm dying. You'd be like,
Yeah.
can I see the second bathroom here? You won't be doing that. 10 years ago, I and a friend came up with the idea that we should make a sketch where someone is shot, but then he keeps living his life. Like he goes to work, he takes his kids to the playground, but he's got this bullet wound as well, and he's just living his life and lives for 50 years that way. And the wound is still bleeding at the end of the movie. Like,
He finally bleeds out right at the end.
yeah.
So we have to get back to Natalie's rant about class disparity and how, you're rich and all these poor people don't.
You were rich and I didn't even know you, but it's all your fault. Like, I didn't even know you like 10
Yeah.
minutes ago, but everything
I
is
know.
your fault now.
Yeah.
Because
and
that
I'm-
woman won't take any blame. Like, she won't take any
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's everyone else's fault but mine. Okay.
Yeah. And like, she knows this isn't their house, right? It was obviously an open house and she's a realtor,
Yeah.
but whatever. Oh, and there's a,
What is
line
this
that-
trend of inserting like political agenda in at such like sequences? Like, it's just a suspenseful movie. Like,
yeah, well, and the problem is there's like no nuance here. It's basically throwing it all out, and
Yeah.
it's not subtle, nothing new, everything you've seen before.
yeah. But you know what? If they stop making bad movies, this podcast would cease to exist. So-
Yeah, yes, we need movies
we
like
need some
this.
shitty movies. Okay.
So at one point, Natalie says, "Your idea of struggling is skimping on your yearly trip to Cabo."
What?
And then, yeah, and Heather gets offended and responds by saying, "We've never even been to Cabo." It was like, oh, God.
Okay.
Great dialogue here. So, suddenly a doorbell rings,
Okay.
and they look at the
And it's
security
like, I
footage and-
left my hat.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Can I get my hat, please?
Bill, you never came in with the hat.
But no, it's a cop.
Okay. It's like, we get out of donuts, so got
Yeah.
any sweet stuff?
I need food. This is getting boring.
Yeah. Okay.
So Susan answers the door, and she acts super sketchy. And he says, "Why are you still here?" And she says, "Oh, I'm working late, getting some paperwork done and everything."
Again, that
And
shitty
so-
acting.
So he starts revealing everything about why the cops are around, and he says, "Oh, there were intruders in a nearby house, and they killed someone, and that
35 acres away, nearby house.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and blah blah blah." And then he asks if everything's all right, and she pauses for like 10 seconds before she says yes.
Yes, but there's a rug upstairs that needs cleaning, so
Yeah.
could you...
Well,
if you guys are not busy,
yeah. Anybody got any bleach or anything?
yeah, there's a hose back in the backyard, so Get to it.
And the hilarious part is the cop even notices that she has blood on her sleeve.
Okay.
And then she dismisses it, saying, "Oh, I was
is
making
this chicken I sacrificed for Moloch?
yeah,
Because this house is not selling. And we need to do some demon worship.
yeah, just
Yeah, and then the
casual
cop was like,
demon
Hail
worship.
Satan.
Yeah,
I'm in the
Satan.
club, lady.
Have a good day." So that would actually be a better excuse,
Right.
because Susan says, "Oh, I was making Bloody Marys for clients." And it's like, who makes
With
Bloody Marys
actual
for their
blood.
clients?
Hey, lady,
And
that
then-
doesn't look like tomato juice. No, this is high
Yeah, I
quality
know.
tomato juice.
Yeah, nothing but the best. And so, and then the cop, she offers a Bloody Mary to the cop, and he just says, "Oh, no thanks."
I'm on duty.
And he just, yeah, that's what he says.
Uh-huh.
And then he just lets her go.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Okay, that was a super fishy conversation. And even so, this is a huge property. Wouldn't you think it would be the perfect place for
And
two
that was
people
the
on
lead
the lam
detective,
trying
actually.
to... Yeah,
It was a lead detective
yeah.
who just stopped
This
by.
is, this is just really
This is
terrible.
some modern day Sherlock.
Yeah. Modern day Sherlock. But like, there's all the sketchy stuff, not to mention all the land that would be perfect for two people on the lam to
Yeah.
hide. And he doesn't say, "Oh, can I have a look around?" Nope, he just says, "Okay, bye."
I don't think they've
I-
shown like too much of the house or like the interior. I feel like all
Yeah.
the action has
Yeah.
been like in limited areas.
Yeah, well, during the montage, they showed some rooms,
Okay.
but you can't tell where they are.
this is found like stock footage.
Yeah.
They just went to like
yeah.
a stock footage website like house interiors. Yeah, just
Yeah,
insert
yeah.
it, Billy. Oh, and I have
Well-
the spare footage. Yeah, insert it in the opening credits. All right, see you tomorrow.
Yeah. That's it's and I can't make out where any room is or what floor, how many floors.
Right.
Maybe the rooms just keep switching. Maybe
Yeah,
it's just one of those
I
special
would
houses.
watch that movie, man. I
Yeah.
would watch. Yeah, let's make a movie in which the house is weird.
Yeah,
Like, that is the concept of the film.
yeah. That would be perfect, actually.
Yeah, like if we
But
were to
no.
like write a film inspired by the show, the plot would be like something is up with this house. Like this house
Yes.
is up to something.
Yeah.
Are there any movies like that? I don't know.
Probably.
Oh, there's Monster House.
Oh yeah, Monster House.
I just made Monster House. Where's my millions of dollars?
Yeah. Well, it's bad when there's a kids movie that's way more creative than this. So, after the cop leaves, an unknown caller calls Natalie and reveals that the roads are being closed off by the cops.
Okay,
So, now we know that they can't really escape.
right.
Susan mentions that she has to go to the bathroom. And
Enters
Natalie
another dimension. Okay.
Yeah, and enters another dimension somewhere. She can't find the bathroom anywhere, so she just enters a room and says, "Here's fine." But anyway,
Have you seen
Natalie
that movie,
reluctantly...
Cube?
Cube, yes.
Yeah, that was a cool movie.
Yeah. But,
Like that was.
That's-
I was just thinking of like other. Oh, I saw this weird movie. Okay, so this movie. Have you seen this? I don't recall the name. It was like I think Spanish. There's like a prison and there's a cell on every floor,
oh, yeah.
and there's an elevator that
platform.
goes up and down.
Yeah, the platform.
Yeah, the platform. That was a wild
It
movie.
was on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, these are low-budget movies.
Yeah.
So you can't really use the budget thing as an excuse.
No, actually, I find like the lower the budget, the more creative the filmmaker has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Except here.
Always an exception to the rules.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
So Natalie reluctantly takes Susan to the bathroom, but mentions that she has to keep the door open. While she's sitting on the toilet, Susan mentions that she knows that Natalie is pregnant because apparently mothers can always tell.
Just making small talk.
Yeah, I know. So
How far along are you?
Yes, she says that. Oh, 3 months.
See? It's sort of... Yeah, okay.
And then she gives this heartwarming speech
Ah.
to Natalie while she's sitting on the toilet and this uplifting music is playing. And then I'm
It
thinking,
was actually
okay,
Heather playing with a xylophone in the background.
Anyway, she finishes and I guess she couldn't go. She was too nervous or something. So she loudly searches through the bathroom drawers.
She's like, false alarm. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't do it with the door open.
I have performance anxiety.
Yeah. So she goes through these drawers very loudly with the door open, and Natalie can't hear anything.
Right.
And she finds a pair of small
She's
scissors.
listening to Shakira on her AirPods.
Yeah. So she takes the small scissors and hides them in her pocket.
I'm gonna do some crafting.
Yeah.
Where's my
doing arts and
scrapbook?
crafts.
Yeah.
So Keith turns on a laptop and sees
their motives have still not been revealed?
Well, no, they
Oh my
have
God.
essentially been revealed with Natalie's class divide thing. They just want money.
Okay.
So it's really basic. So Keith goes on and the laptop.
So he didn't escape
and-
from prison or something?
Nope, nothing like that.
Ugh.
Just
Okay.
as basic as can be. So,
Like I by default give this movie like some credit when I shouldn't have.
yeah,
I don't know why I was thinking he was like an escaped convict, because that's also a trope.
yeah.
When I was a kid, there was a play in my, I think, 8th or 9th grade English textbook about this. There was this house in the Scottish moors, and this woman owned it, and there were also 2 other boys there. I don't know, someone's friend, and they were waiting for. The mother was waiting for the son. I'm butchering the plot at this point, but the plot was she was waiting for her son.
Yeah.
And there was also this car in the driveway or something, and they talk about that, like some fancy car. And then there was an overlapping story of an escaped convict. And so, but this convict enters the house, and there's chatter like, oh, the police are looking for him, and blah blah blah, on the radio or something. In the end, it is revealed that this is the son she was waiting for. Like, she was waiting for the guy to escape, to come over and take the car and run away. And she was like this fence, basically. So, like, that was a cool story.
Yeah.
And so that's that's why I gave him this escaped convict personality. Okay.
Okay, well then. So Keith turns on the laptop and he sees a news report online. The news reporter mentions that intruders have been responsible for 5 break-ins.
Okay.
So Heather responds to this news report by telling Keith, well, looks like your luck ran out.
And he's
Just
like,
like-
it hurt so much.
Yeah.
Nothing.
This is so that we get an awkward segue into some exposition. Because she says, oh, looks like your luck ran out. I've been through that just like when my dad had cancer. It's like, what?
And he's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Watching music.
Yeah, I know.
Stop
It's like-
bothering me, bitch. But he's like, yeah,
But-
okay, keep telling me your sad story.
yeah. But Keith
While I
is sort
bleed
of
to death.
Yeah, he's like...
Tell me about
But
yours. It's always about you.
He's sort of the nice guy, and he sympathizes with her. Oh, your poor dad that had cancer. And okay, so there's some exposition.
Okay.
So after this, we cut to Paul, who's Susan's boss from earlier.
Right.
And
he was
he
Paul. I
retr-
was calling him Bill the whole time. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Paul.
Paul, Bill, Ringo, John, Pete
Yeah,
Best.
Same person. So he returns to the property for some reason. Especially when there's cops all over the streets.
Right.
Who I'm sure explained to him what was going on.
Uh-huh.
And not sure completely why he's visiting. But he
How
notices
was
that
your
there...
day, Susan? I just dropped by. I was in the neighborhood. I just dropped by.
Yeah, I decided
By the way,
to
have you
drop
seen my
by.
hat?
Yeah, he's looking for his hat.
Yeah. He was here to
seems
make his part of the sacrifice to Moloch.
Yeah. So
He's
so
put a
he
goose
doesn't
and a goat.
Yeah.
Because he's the bigger partner in the firm, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, is to make bigger sacrifices.
So he seems to be mad at Susan, even though he can't put two and two together as to why there's two cars there.
Right.
He's like, oh, why is she still here? Blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And then so he walks around the side of the house and he sees Susan tied to the chair. And he's like, oh, Susan.
He's like, he's
then-
into that.
Yeah. You know
Wait,
my
this is my
fetish.
fantasy come true.
Man. I didn't know you felt this way about me. So...
Susan, how did you tie
So-
yourself? You're so romantic. Okay.
So anyway, he hears a voice behind him, and it's Natalie, and that knocks him out. They wake up.
Uh-huh.
Well, he wakes up, and they're tied to a chair. They're tied to chairs, not one chair.
Right.
They're sitting right in front of a pool. Natalie threatens to drown Paul in the pool, but he says he'll negotiate with them. And-
let's talk over here. Let's talk.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? I can get you
I'll give you-
$50,000, right?
Oh.
Hey, let me go.
Whoa. Have you seen this movie before? Because
No?
Keith interrupts and says, okay, we'll do it for $50,000.
Yeah, I'm just guessing the budget of these petty criminals.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be happy in 50,000. Yeah.
Yeah, 50,000.
Yeah.
I don't know how far 50,000 can go in this economy, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Shake
a win.
people up for a night, get 50,000, do it for a month. You get
Yeah.
a $1.5 million, you know what I'm saying? I hope my maths is right there. I'd suck at math.
So Paul says, yeah, sure, I'll give you the 50,000 and I can help you sneak out past the police.
Okay.
So they get ready to go, and Keith
And they're
slings...
like, bye, Heather, bye, Natalie, I'll miss you. Let's be
Yeah.
friends on Insta. Yeah, please add me at natalie.criminal.
Natalie _ criminal.
Yeah, add me there. Bye, Heather. Bye, Natalie.
So, and the great thing here
By
is-
the end of my character's goodbye there, she lost 50 IQ points.
Yes, exactly. So Keith decides to to sling a bag full of cash over his shoulder,
Okay.
but you can see that the bag is pressing against the side where
Wait,
he was shot.
what's in the bag? Money?
Money.
So he was just walking around with cash.
I think it's money that they stole from one of their earlier break-ins.
Oh, okay.
They don't really explain it very
They
well,
just
but
walk
I'm
around
pretty
with
sure
it. They
that's
just leg it into crime scene number 2. Let's take
I mean,
evidence from crime scene number 1
Yeah.
to 2.
Yeah.
So we can get more years of incarceration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get ready to go into the car, but Paul sets off his car alarm, and this, I don't know, disrupts Keith and Natalie, and it hurts their ears. So he runs away, and then he runs away slowly, and Natalie pursues him also slowly. You can see them sort of run by the camera, and it looks like they're doing a light jog. I don't know.
This is the pace. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nice and slow.
Uh-huh. Paul is
Yeah.
whistling.
So while this is going on, we cut back to Susan and Heather, who are tied to the chairs. And so this is where Susan brings out the scissors she got from earlier and starts to cut through the restraints. So then we cut back to Paul, who reaches the fence. And so he tries to climb it, but it's one of those fences that, it's got the sharp points at the top.
Right.
Except these are really dull. The camera goes close up to them and you can see they are very dull. Not sharp at all.
Right.
Yet, so Keith sees Paul climbing up the fence and he shouts, "Stop, you're gonna fall." And then Paul falls.
Wow. Very caring man. Very caring.
Yeah.
Very considerate criminal. Listens to people's sob stories and then worries about his nemesis's injuries.
It makes him multi-dimensional.
I like this Keith guy. Okay.
Yeah. So sure enough, Paul falls and I guess impales himself through the jaw, maybe? We don't see. And it's so stupid because these points are so dull. I don't even think they could pop a balloon, let alone impale someone.
Right.
But anyway, he's dead. R.I.P. Paul. We hardly knew you.
And we don't even see him finding his hat.
Yeah, he never got his hat. Yeah. Paul and his poor hat. So, cut back to Susan and Heather, who get loose from their restraints, and they run and reach the road. And this is one of the few the only time where there aren't cops driving by.
Right.
But then they see a car drive by, and it's the guy with the car that says security on it.
Right.
So he lets them in, and they explain their situation, and he's like, "Oh no." But then he pulls out a gun and holds them hostage.
Right.
And I guess it turns out he was the ringleader of Natalie and Keith.
He was Houston.
Yeah. So
he was mission control.
He was the one that briefly called them earlier. So he drives them back into the house. And when they get there, the security guy kisses Natalie. So I guess the idea is that he's the father of the baby and not Keith.
Okay.
So then when they go inside, this security guy monologues
Keith has
about
been
the class
friend-zoned. Oh my God.
Yeah, I
so
know.
I'm
Poor
so
Keith.
sad about Keith though.
Poor Keith,
Who is such a nice guy and he's been friend-zoned.
Yeah, adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
He not only has the bullet wound, but
he's the most sympathetic character of the film.
Yes.
Like,
yes, he is. So the security guy monologues about the class divide too, so we can see why he and Natalie get along.
He sprays like a communism symbol on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like Mao was right.
Yeah. All hail
Have
the
you
Soviet
even
Union.
read anything by Marx? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He rants about how he's the security guy and he's not very well appreciated by the people who live around here and blah, blah, blah.
And she's like, what company?
So,
It's like, we can't disclose the company.
Yeah.
It just says security. Okay, lady?
yeah.
Just security. Are you from Johnson Security? Johnson is our biggest competitor. Never mention Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm Mendelssohn Security. I gotcha. Damn it.
Oh, God. So after this, they all come up with a plan where the criminals are going to leave and take Heather with them as sort of their, I don't know, insurance,
Okay.
collateral, whatever. So
Is Keith getting a girlfriend?
I hope so. Maybe this will end with Susan and Keith getting together.
Have a happy
You know?
ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tied on their chairs
We met
for the rest of
we met
eternity.
Yeah. We met when he took me hostage. And, it was love at first sight. So Natalie and the security
That is actually
guy
very
go off.
likely to happen because it's a very intense
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I know. So Natalie and the security guy go off and talk outside.
Okay.
Um,
He's like, what do you want to call the baby? I haven't decided the name of the baby.
yeah.
This is not the right time to discuss the name of the baby. You do this every time.
Don't give him a loser name. so
He's like, look, if it's a guy, it's Paul. And if it's a girl, it's Heather. I hardly know her.
yeah.
She's like, wow, where did you come up with these names? It's off the top of my head, lady.
Yeah.
Let's go back to committing
it just
crime.
Came to me.
Yeah.
Like magic. Meanwhile, Keith's inside with Heather and Susan. And he can see Natalie and the security guy on the security cameras. And he decides to turn on the audio on for one of the cameras.
Wow.
I guess it's good that the camera's mic'd.
Wow.
And that they're standing right
Which
close
is,
to the mic so that we can hear.
never, like, these cameras never have microphones. Like, everyone knows that.
Yeah,
But
I know.
in this
Well,
film, they got special cameras.
in this house where no
with
one lives.
5.1 Dolby digital surround sound.
Yeah. And they're standing right close to the mic, so it's perfect.
Okay.
And so yeah, the two of them talk about how they're gonna kill Keith, and they can blame it on him.
No,
Yeah, not Keith.
not Keith.
Yeah. So Keith decides, I'm gonna let Susan and Heather free. So he lets them loose in a
Keith. I think Keith is the protagonist,
Yes,
and
he is.
the film is about how he fell into bad company.
Yeah. Yes.
Like these people who influenced him and persuaded him into a life of crime by babbling pseudo nonsense about politics. And he was like, yeah, you guys are right. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, poor guy.
Yeah, this would be much more interesting if it was told from Keith's perspective.
Yeah, let someone re-edit this film.
Yeah.
Start with, insert footage of Keith writing love letters to Natalie. But then she's like, I think we should be friends.
We need Hostage House, the Keith cut.
Yeah.
A 3-hour long
with added footage.
Yeah. So Keith decides to attack Natalie and the security guy. Natalie and the security guy knock Keith down and run after Susan and Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Susan hides in the wine cellar, and the security guy's down there.
Gets drunk.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
I want to get drunk. Like I do every day. Because I'm a high-functioning alcoholic.
And I like how the wine cellar has like dozens and dozens of bottles of wine in it.
Right.
Someone will actually break a bottle later. We'll get to that. So...
thank God it's Chekhov's gun. Okay.
Yeah. Chekhov's bottle. So, while...
He was a drunk, I guess. Well, he was a Russian writer, so must have been a drunk. Okay. I drink vodka and I write classic literature, which you will read for 7,000 millennia.
So while the security guy is unconscious, Susan actually does something smart and steals his gun.
Okay.
I don't know whether this is a mistake or what, but having a character do something smart.
She's being proactive for once.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Natalie chases Heather into a theater room.
And they both watch Home Alone.
So Heather turns on the movie projector, which blinds Natalie, and she's like, ah!
Right.
So Heather runs outside, and so does Natalie. And then Heather drapes Natalie with a curtain of some kind and throws her into the pool.
Okay.
And then meanwhile, Susan fires shots into the sky to alert the police. But then she drops the gun, I guess.
Okay.
So the security guy breaks a bottle. And after he wakes up, obviously.
There's just one bullet in the gun, actually. He was like, well, you stupid bitch. That was the last bullet. Yeah. He's like, oh no, and then throws the gun and then he grabs it and was like, you fool. It's a full chamber.
That's actually better written than what happens here. So it's weird. He takes the broken bottle, but then since the gun's on the ground,
Uh-huh.
he goes for the gun instead.
Okay.
So what was the point of the bottle? I don't know. And so he finds Heather and holds her hostage and asks for the money. And then so Keith, like everyone's here now. Everyone's around.
Right.
So-
it's full cast. The
Yeah.
final sequence. Okay.
Yes. So Keith tosses him a bag and he opens it and discovers there's tools inside.
There's
Which
what?
you'd think would be, there's tools like wrenches and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, Keith
you
just
think
got a
this-
job as a welder. Poor
Yeah.
guy.
In the,
Poor guy.
so Keith reveals that he actually has the real bag
Uh-huh.
with all the money on it, and he takes like 5 bills out of the bag and sets them on fire.
Okay.
And the security guy like freaks out. It's like, okay, it's not
It's
that
like,
much
no,
money.
not my money.
It's like $50, man, $50.
Okay.
I could have used that. So Keith
And
then
buy
takes the
3 days worth of chicken in Ontario.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I could have used that. So Keith then takes the real bag and gives it a light toss into the field and says, oh, shouldn't be too hard to find. It's only 70 acres. But you threw it like
Okay.
5 feet into like freshly cut grass.
Right.
It's not that far away.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, security guy freaks out and acts like this is a big deal.
Okay.
So, then he gets mad.
Just unnecessary
and-
drama.
I know.
We just gone out and we're like, bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Natalie. Bye, Keithy boy. You know, I always liked you. Like that, they should have done
Yeah.
that, you know. Maybe she tried to seduce
Yeah.
him at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The security guy gets mad and shoots Keith. And then the cops arrive and shoot the security guy and he dies. So this is pretty much the end. In the aftermath, Heather and Susan are being treated by the paramedics. Natalie and Keith are being taken away by the cops. And while Keith is being taken away, Susan looks at him and mouths thank you, even though he was holding her hostage.
Right.
She's grateful for that.
She's like, I'll come to the prison. And
Yeah.
you know, I'll bring some DVDs and we'll watch them
Yeah.
together. Keithy.
I mean, as we heard earlier, her husband died,
Yeah.
so she's a free agent.
Yeah. She's an agent. Yeah.
Yeah. So we cut to later. Susan is driving Heather away to university.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the last scene of the movie, we see Natalie holding her baby after giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
But a nurse walks into the room and takes the baby away from her as she screams and cries.
And goes back to prison, I guess.
Yes,
Okay.
she's in
And
prison.
that baby suffers for the next 19 years
Yeah.
as an adoptee and moves from house to house. And
Yeah.
and this should be like the origin story of like a villain.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Hostage House 2. We're getting it. So there's Hostage House. Thank you to everyone for listening.
And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.